There's a big dust coming. We have different stages.
Well,
I'll do money.
We won't put that bit in.
Yeah, but
you'll cut that bit, won't you? No, you can. You can say whatever you want. Anyway, I'm not sure your man can hold back anyway, are you? It's the 5th of March, and we've now come about 4 hours away from where we were yesterday, and we're on a farm, Thomas Bachetto's farm, which is 6,700 hectares. And the area and where we are has changed dramatically. It's amazing how, as we move around Brazil, how the landscape changed. Not so much the fields, but the towns and the roads and the infrastructure. We're definitely in a very rural environment now, and nearly everything is dominated by agriculture, which actually as a farmer is quite humbling to see. Last night they took us to a Japanese restaurant, and we've got, just on this farm, there's a lot of parrots, big parrots flying around, and they've got a special name for them, but I can't quite remember. It's sort of like an aurora, but we'll just check in a minute. But and you can hear them, they're in the background, they're constantly talking. And the other noise is the strimmer, of course, that somebody's trimming some grass. But yeah, so we're looking forward to a tour around here. We've been through fields where we've just cut through where they're doing sugarcane, and there's a big factory there, and they process and they cut for 10 months of the year, every day for 10 months of the year to keep the factory running. And the opposite side of the road was cotton, which was quite amazing to see. It looks very different to what I'd expected to look. It almost looked like the soybean in the green growing stage. It didn't look as I thought it was going to be in more strips. Just like to introduce Thomas. So we're on his farm. It's a 17,000 hectare farm, 10,000 hectares that he puts into cropping. And we've come up just now. So he's got his sign here. This is the business, Sutal. And he was just, is that how you pronounce it?
Sutal, yeah.
Sutal. And he was just telling me that his grandmother came from England, Sunderland. So his English is excellent. In fact, it's better than mine. But it's got a bit of an American twang, hasn't it?
Exactly.
And so we were just talking about, things that we find difficult on farms, etc. What are your main issues? And he was talking about the environment. So he's brought us up here. So this is the boundary. But do you own this, or is this the boundary of your farm?
This is the boundary.
Okay, so this is the boundary. So just tell us what this is, because you said it's 150,000 hectares of nature reserve.
Yes, this is a national park, which we have about 9 kilometers of border with the national park. And we are obligated by law to farm non-GMOs 500 meters from the park. So 500 meters that way, we have maize, corn, that's non-GMO.
Is that the same if you grow soybeans?
Soybeans, cotton, all crops has to be non-GMOs.
Wow, so they basically drew a circle around the outside of the park.
Exactly, 500 meters outside the park, and then you had another 3 kilometers where you have to, they have like a management plan where you have to farm differently than other places. Like you cannot use crop dusters and all that kind of stuff as a way to protect the park.
A crop duster is a sprayer on a plane.
Exactly. That's the American way. Yeah. And
so you have to use a self-propelled boom sprayer here.
Exactly. And what we see here in Brazil, as we were talking before, our biggest issue in Brazil, and I think most farmers have this issue, is environmental issues. And it's not the good thing about the environment, it is stupid laws, which in my opinion are more harmful to the environment than protecting the environment. And this is a good example. This 500 meters we have here close to the park, which has to be non-GMOs, and I have to repeat that every year of my life in this place here.
When did it come in?
This been since 20 years already, 20 years that this federal law was done. And what we have to do here is spray 2 times, 3 times more than on GMOs, because we don't have the BT protein on the leaves. We cannot use glyphosate, which I understand is bad, but then I have to use 5 products to substitute glyphosate.
Oh, you can't use glyphosate at all?
No, I cannot use it, otherwise I'll kill my crop.
Oh no, but could you use it before you plant?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
And
yeah.
you can, which is doesn't make sense. If I can use it before, why cannot not put a crop that I can use it later?
And you were also saying for pre-harvest, you're now having to desiccate the crop with a product like Reglone because there's so much weed mass there. You
Exactly.
have harvesting difficulties.
I have that
so that's another chemical.
Another chemical that you put. So you're talking about, about 2 molecules with GMOs, and we're talking about 7 to 8 different active ingredients if you go to non-GMOs. We are in a tropical country. We don't have winter freeze. We don't have everything. But, out of all of this, you need to kind of integrate. Sometimes, open. I won't plant soybeans, I won't plant corn, I'll plant a grass, or I'll plant like turnips, or I'll plant something else. And
but to put it into perspective, 500 meters by 9 kilometers is a huge
that's
amount.
450 hectares, which is about 909.
Okay, so it's a vast area.
Exactly, 1,000 acres.
Yeah, it's a vast area.
Exactly.
And you're also saying that there are obligations, depending upon what area in Brazil you are, in how much land you actually have to have out of production, which is on farmable land, but you're not allowed to farm it. You have to, you said 20% in this area?
Yeah, this is, so they do it by biomes. In Brazil we have 5 biomes. You have I won't get into all of them, but Caatinga, Pampas, Pantanal, Amazon, and the Cerrado.
Okay.
We are in the Cerrado region,
Yeah.
which is the biggest biome in Brazil. This is like the savanna, the Brazilian savanna, to put it into perspective. Very similar to Africa if you go to Botswana, all those parks. And here in the Cerrado, you have to keep 20%, 1/5 of your land untouched.
Yeah.
That's law.
Every year? Can you rotate it?
No, you can't rotate it.
Oh, really?
You have to
designate it.
you have to destinate that area. You don't touch.
Okay.
Now, that's pretty much 20% of areas you can farm, because pretty much you have like a buffer zone, for example, from rivers. If you have a big river that goes through your farm, you have to have about from 20 to 50 meters, depending on the size of the river.
Yeah.
And if you have wetlands, that's considered APP.
Like marshland?
Like marshland.
Yeah, okay.
So you have permanent preservation area. That doesn't count on your 20%.
Yeah.
There is a law that if you, before 2008, you just had marshlands, you had farmed everything to the ground, then you could consider. Now, who came after 2008 cannot include that on your 20%.
Okay.
So we have marsh areas.
Yeah.
We have over 6,000 acres of marsh area.
Wow.
And that's not considered in my reserves.
Yeah.
So I have also savannas, and it's all entitled to, I pay tax on top of that. If someone sets that on fire, I pay fine on top of that. And all the animals that are in there are our native animals that do attack the crop.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about it because we cannot hunt in Brazil. We cannot manage it.
So you're not allowed to go out with the shotgun and start shooting pests?
No, you don't want to do that, and you don't want to call it a pest.
Okay.
Because they say that the farmer is the pest.
Okay.
That's what the environmental agency said. You came here before them.
How
And that's their argument.
Okay.
But where
So
do you go with that argument?
You were telling me that you were losing 15% of your crop from...
Peccaries.
And they are the mini pigs?
Yes, they are pigs that go up to 40 kgs.
Yeah.
And
is that smaller than a wild boar?
Yeah, you cannot compare to the wild boar. They are different. They cannot, breed between them.
Yeah.
But they will be close to our wild boar in Europe. Yeah, of course.
Have they got tusks?
No, they don't.
Okay. And then what do? They go into a maize crop and they eat it, or they just flatten it?
So there are different stages because there's a big dust coming. We have different stages. When the corn is small, they will just go and flatten everything because they can smell, they know it's food because they know the plant already.
Okay.
And they'll create like massive damage.
So just eat it.
Yeah, they'll just chop it because they don't eat it, but they're trying to find something because the smell. They say where's the grains? Where's the grains? So then you have the spot when it tassels, and you have the silk coming out, and then there's not much food there, so they'll drop as many to eat that small little corn cob. And then after you have like pretty much on blister stage or dose stage, they will attack because there is food, but they will pretty much drop the plant down and just give it a little, because you have so many, right? It's abundance of food. And when you just have this massive amount of damage, especially close to the national park.
So if they're not being controlled, I'm assuming the numbers must be going up.
The numbers are going up in whole Brazil, and what happens, and we have to be careful how we say it, but Brazilian farmers, they wouldn't be farming if they weren't taking actions to their own hands today. Because it's impossible. So here, in my case, we are doing a big project. It's one of the biggest projects in Brazil when you call about fauna. Do you know how you say fauna, Hiki? Fauna, it's
like wildlife.
Yeah, wildlife, exactly. So it's one of the biggest, because here in Brazil you don't touch anything that's native. And what's exotic, we have like a huge resistance from the environmental agencies to permit you to shoot a wild boar that came from Europe, or to shoot some of those rabbits, I don't know how you call that, came from the United States. You have like the buffaloes that aren't from here, and it's so hard to kill them. You have to have a lot of money, you have to have a lot of agencies.
And you're not allowed to just fence this in? Because there is a fence there. You can't sort of just put an 8-foot fence up.
Then there is a law that's from this federal park in specific that the animals have a right to come and go.
A right to roam.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you cannot fence it.
Okay.
Unless you go into justice and they give you a permit, which is not a law passing the law. So
if
it's
the
very
number,
hard.
so you were part of a study, and from memory you said Corvella, which is a chemical company,
Corteva.
help fund it.
Yes.
And just let me understand what you did. So you were trying to ascertain the quantity of damage to be able to prove the damage.
So we had we had the damage, and we showed, and this damage is made by pigs. And they would question it. Wasn't your planter that wasn't well regulated? Wasn't a tornado? Wasn't something else? And we had to show how many pigs we had in this area, the peccaries, and it came a number that was ridiculous, because you understand that it has protein and energy, which is not in nature. Cerrado savanna, this kind of savanna, produces 12 kgs of food per hectare per year.
Okay.
That corn right there is 12,000 kgs.
Okay, per hectare.
Per hectare for 4 months. And then you have another crop in Brazil, because we have 2 crops in this area. So you're talking about just this crop is 1,000 times more than what the pigs had in their natural resource. And what people don't see it is we have a positive number. We don't have an animal going into extinction.
No.
This animal has its importance in the environment. And what we have in Brazil, we have places where this pig doesn't exist, because it's so aggressive to cropland that they were decimated. In south of Brazil, north of Brazil, where it's very poor, it's a great meat. So we don't use, and it becomes a pest, but we could get all this surplus from here and redo all in Brazil, and everybody would be happy. And you'd have farmers doing for free, putting their trucks in for free just because of the damage. If I can get this damage out of here, let's do it. But again, you just go to environmental and they say, but the pig that existed in the north of Brazil had a little wider collar here, so it's maybe we're gonna put something that's not exactly the same. Well, there's nothing there, man. So either you have something that comes from here and you rebuild it, or you don't. And we see all this, So my point is, the environmentals, they actually don't want to help the environment.
Yeah.
They want to harm the farmer.
Yeah.
And then they just say that you're so negative and you brought down all of the savanna, because this was savanna,
Yeah.
and that, you know, we putting pesticides everywhere. And you know, we have to be truthful that in some cases, you know, farmers have to do a better job.
Yeah.
But in the majority of the farmers,
Yeah.
we're looking at biological controls.
Yeah.
We're looking about integrated pest management. We are looking at crop rotation. We're looking at integration with cattle.
Yeah.
We're having amazing results with cattle.
You've got cattle as well, haven't
We
you?
have cattle. We have like a big program, which we want to show also, just like you do it, maybe 2 or 3 years from now, how we rotate cattle in this environment, how we do grass, how we can restore all the, you know, nutrients that we have 3-4 meters down there that corn won't go and fetch it, but, you know, the grass will, and how we can do all this rotation and use all the, you know, copy what nature has shown us. And you see many farmers doing that way. If you film that way, that's like organic phosphorus. We get the rocks, we mix with like the sugarcane company. We have a business with them. So they do all the process, and you have the residual, which is called torta de filtro, which is like a organic compost, which you buy from them, and you mix with all that rock, phosphorus rock in powder, and then you apply a bacteria, which will eat your organic matter and break down that phosphorus rock and make it available phosphorus.
I think that rock is going to be something like we have slag, phosphate slag. I'm assuming it's that. And does it take 25 years to break down?
Exactly,
and
we
by
do it
doing what you're doing, it shortens that period.
in 40 days, because the because the organic matter will build the heat. You'll have about 70-80 degrees out there, and you have to keep it down because the bacteria dies, but at the same time you have to have a certain temperature so you can speed the process up, and the bacteria will feed on the organic product and we'll break that rock and make it more available, even though it's a certain small percentage. But
so
you put
you're now being able to use a product that would before would have been meaningless to have applied because it was too long a time.
Too long, and I need results right now.
Yeah.
It's just like people with this carbon dioxide. We were talking about saving the planet 50 years from now, and people are dying hungry, right?
Yeah.
And this is important because 50 years from now we'll have a planet, but what will happen if everybody's dying
food,
right now?
Yeah. And you were saying as well that if you farm near the Amazon, 80% of the
Exactly.
land.
So in the savanna we need 20%. In Amazon it's 80. The Atlantic forest is 50.
So you can only farm 20% of your holding, and 80% has to be out on the in the Amazon. So you've only got a 20% to make money, but you have to spend money on the 80% to keep it right. Is that right?
Exactly. You cannot do anything on the 80%.
Wow.
And I tell people, you know, most of the people that have forests in the Amazon, now they're talking about, you know, do not farm. That's what Europe wants. Yeah. Do not farm.
Yeah.
And we'll pay you carbon credits, right?
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, if we're talking about sustainability, you have the 3 pillars, right, of sustainability, which is money, which is environment, which is social.
Yeah.
So we have the money because the guy that owns that land is making money. So, okay, you have the environment because the forest, okay, it's a standing, so you have all that rainforest. But what about the people that live around that region? They're not getting a job.
No, nothing.
They're not getting nothing.
And
what's happening in Brazil is we have the biggest rainforest of the world.
Yeah.
It's the richest environmental place in the world, and it's where the people are the poorest.
Yeah.
And if you talk, where is the state in the last 20 years that the people got more money, that the people like really progress in life, is Mato Grosso, which brought the hugest amount of forest down. Yeah. So you see a symbiosis with forest, poverty, farming, prosperity.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that way. I believe farming and environmental goes together. Even the law in Brazil, I don't oppose having 20%.
No, but I'm assuming the 20% is not the big issue, but you would like to be able to count what land you can't farm, which is the marshland and the rivers and the buffer zones within the 20%.
That would be good.
Yeah.
But even though if I cannot count, the problem is that my reserve, my forest, has a lot of birds, have a lot of animals, and that's great. But what happens is the macaws, for example. If I plant sunflower here, you know what macaws are, right?
No.
Macaws are that bird.
Is that
have you seen that Rio, that parrot? Exactly,
Okay.
that blue and yellow that we
Okay,
have
yeah.
here. We're talking about the macaws damaging sunflowers. We don't plant sunflowers anymore because the macaws will bring it all down.
Do they sit on the top and take the
They
seed out?
used to sit. They would hold on the stalk and they would eat like it would head
yeah.
down. Then they learned, so they would eat 20% of that. Then the combine would come and harvest it, the 80%. Then they start learning to cut the head of the sunflower and it will fall down
And
on
get
the
the
ground. And
100%.
they would just eat the 20%, but the
Oh,
combine
no.
wouldn't pick that up. So what would happen was like the macaws, they started adapting. Now they are adapting and eating corn. They'll go there, they'll grab the ear, and they'll fly on top of a tree and they'll eat the corn.
Really?
Yeah, and it's
How
a
many have
beautiful
you-
bird.
How many have you got here?
Macaws?
Yeah.
I think over 2,000, man.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
and
And you
this-
can't shoot them?
No.
No.
And don't talk about shooting that bird. It's in Rio. You didn't see the cartoon, Rio cartoon?
No.
It's about the macaw. Did you see that
Okay.
Rio cartoon? Yeah,
Okay,
and
yeah,
people
Tom,
love it.
Tom's closer to being a child than I am, that's why. Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's not that you want to shoot it, but it's bringing damage. And then, like I said, we have an overpopulation of macaws.
Yeah.
Let's use it in a good way.
Yeah.
And how can we do it? And then people cannot talk about how it's a good way to use it. And if you give ideas, they will think you're like a criminal.
Yeah.
And I have
Oh,
like
I see. So
very
it's talking about subjects which are uncomfortable. If you're not careful, you get branded.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a very well-known, famous guy on wildlife in Brazil, and this guy says, because Brazil had a problem with going extinct. It's in the north of Brazil. It's called the ararinha azul. It's a type of a parrot, but smaller, but comes from the same family.
Yeah.
And it went extinct. And how they managed to bring back that bird was from smuggling, wildlife smuggling, traffic, illegal. This guy had a couple in Germany or
Okay.
something like that. I don't want to but it wasn't somewhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And they brought that and they managed to restore because there was criminality on it. Not because we were smart enough to do it. And what you see here is like you can get, there is the, maybe they finished,
Is that your drill?
Yeah, that's our tractor with
I love the
flanker.
fact he's got the lights on in the middle of the sunlight.
Yeah.
Is that a law?
No, it's not.
No, it's just
no,
a
no.
show.
It is a law.
Oh,
Sorry.
is it?
It is a law.
Okay.
And then we asked if it was a law to turn it on at night also.
Yeah. Is that right?
We were making a joke because when Brazil passed that law.
We often joke that we employ some people who've never turned the lights on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is a law if you're in a public road, which this one's a public road. You have to have your lights on. So
1046. I've never seen a 1046 before.
yeah, this is the new Horsch planter,
Yeah.
and they brought it so we could test it.
Yeah.
So actually, this is not ours. Ours
Thomas,
are
look at
plenty. So they want me to buy
Yeah.
this.
How are you
this
feeling
planter.
about it?
Well, I feel like I want to buy it, but, but I don't know if we'll have the money to buy
Okay,
it,
so it's
you know?
payment terms you've got to agree.
Because soybean prices are going down and
Yeah.
the prices of everything else is going up. So the water table here is very shallow. So what you have, it's reduced iron. We don't have the oxidated iron. The other farm is very red
Yes.
because you have the oxidated iron. Here is reduced, so you have a lot more of this kind of gray soil.
Yeah.
Right? And you have like about a meter 20 deep, you have this more impermeable layer that keeps this water, this field water saturated.
Okay, so you were just talking about the fact that actually, even though the topography of the land, you wouldn't think there'd be a water issue here, but actually you do get waterlogged.
We
so
do.
You went to America, imported a tile drainage machine, which I'm assuming you put on the back of a tractor and you're feeding the plastic pipe in.
Exactly.
And you tow it from one end, you're following the GPS of where to go.
Exactly. RTK, also making it the
Height up and down.
height up and down, keeping it less than 2 centimeter error.
And you've done this paddock here. Now this bit we're stood on, you didn't do because this at the time actually had cattle on.
Exactly.
So you created a line up there, and I'm assuming you're going to have to almost take that now to join them all up.
Exactly. Or I'll have to put like a main here and come with like very short.
Yeah.
Or I'll have to find the end of that tile
Yeah.
and go and
Connect
it to
Yeah.
it, so we can take it to the bottom part of the farm.
So, because you were saying in Brazil, drainage, in tile drainage, is not a thing here. This is almost very few people consider doing it.
Exactly. First of all, the technology, we don't have the tile plows, we didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have the know-how to do it. And since I studied in the United States, and then I went to work in Nebraska and Iowa,
Yeah.
and I saw people tiling, and I knew I had my father owned this area, which is amazing ground, but since we don't manage water, so I went on research, and then I managed to bring it. And what happens here is a lot of people think that you need that, filter to go over it, and then you need to put rocks on it and
Yeah.
everything. And when you
As
talk,
we do in the UK.
as you guys do in
Yeah.
the UK, but I'm talking about we drain here almost 3,000 hectares.
Wow.
2-point-something thousand hectares.
What did that cost?
That was close to, today would be about 7 to 8 million euro.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
So that
the
was a
investment.
significant investment.
And I went.
And did that mean that land became farmable or just became a better, more profit?
No, we did have cattle,
Yeah.
but we had like problems with calves. Just when they were born, they would just fall inside a very wet area or get a disease or even drown.
Okay.
And we couldn't get cows or do the fattening here, like buy big ones, because our pasture was so poor, because the pasture that grows in very wet areas is so low in protein, and we couldn't get into the fields and also broadcast or anything, because we would just
So
get
no
stuck.
timeliness.
Yeah, so what we had to do here is pretty much like in the dry season, we had to come with tracks and kind of level the soil, and then we had to get this big how do you call this excavator walking on top of logs.
Yeah.
Like we had to get logs and then drain it, and then we already had to do the project, so we're going to run tiles that way. So like also the open ditches had to be in the same way, and then we would put the tiles in, and then we would close the open ones, and then the next year we would do it where the open ditch was. So and some areas were more dry, which we could farm soybeans, but we couldn't farm corn because the corn is always, we are planting right now in February, which is like very rainy season.
That 3,000 hectares was effectively unfarmable for crops then?
2,000 was unfarmable.
And
in 1,000 I could only farm, for example, soybeans, and some years I would lose. For example, here we farm soybeans without tiles, and you can see all the grass and all the green you can see is because the soybeans were so weak because they suffered from water.
Waterlogged feed.
So so they were and now if you go that way, about 300 meters that way, you can see there is no green because the soybeans there was giving me 5 tons, and soybeans here was 1.8 ton.
Wow.
So by the time
it's a massive difference.
It's huge because here is very wet. It's not like I'm like in places of the United States. You see that they have like 50 bushels and they go to 55. Here I go from 1.5 tons to 5. In 2,000 hectares, I went from 0 to harvesting. We closed the field 6 tons of soybeans.
Wow.
6 tons of soybeans.
So it's really good land. It just
amazing.
wasn't accessible.
I mean, it's an amazing place. We have 800 meters above sea level.
Yeah.
We have good sunlight. We have about 2,000 millimeters of rain. The soil itself is good texture, but it's poor. So what we do is we open here with 10 tons of lime. The first year, 10 tons of lime, about 0.5 tons of MAP 1152, another 300 kgs, 0.3 tons of potassium chloride. And then you have another 2 tons of gypsum. And what you do is You know, you go and you buy from Russia and all this globalization, and you make this farm be very profitable. One thing you do here, the native land, which is something very nice to say, that people think, oh, farming is destroying the land and everything. We go from 0.2, 0.3% organic matter to 3-4% organic matter.
Yeah.
So if you get farms,
so this is where the carbon capture starts
exactly.
to come in. So you could argue you doubled your carbon capture.
I more than 10 times.
Yeah.
More organic matter.
Yeah, amazing.
And then what we have to understand is why soybeans are badly seen.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you something. I think it's because it makes money.
Yeah, I think it is as crude as that.
Now, of course.
So how are we going to make money out of the carbon capture?
Well, I'll tell you this: carbon capture should never be the main reason for money.
No.
In my point of view, because where the credit comes from, it has to get from someone to pay someone else. There's not a full circle around it.
No.
I mean, it's not like an economy where everybody profits from a big system. You have to punish, for example, a flight company, which will charge more for the passenger. And what we have is the carbon is pretty much just increasing the cost to give it to someone else. It's not like something that goes, it's not a win-win deal.
No.
Of course, now if you talk about, okay, if I do integration with cattle, increase my organic matter to 10%, I'm making money with all this integration. And then if carbon's gonna give me money because I'm making more organic matter, so be it, but not my main thing.
No.
You know? And
well, it's just in the Europe there has been, you're not coming from a subsidy industry, but in the Europe we have become generationally used to subsidies. So of course we think, well, where's the next subsidy coming from? So the fault is, well, it's got to be coming from carbon credits. That's the reason we're sort of so focused on it. It's how we're going to replace the subsidy we've lost. So we were hoping it was going to be carbon.
That's why Europe is for me, it's amazing. The farmers are so good and everything, but you guys have been putting so much into subsidies and putting these stupid environmental laws. And this is what we are seeing that they're pushing in Brazil.
Yeah.
And that's where I want to sit. Okay, if you guys want to pay for the carbon, okay, but it has to give me money, even if you guys say you lost your carbon credit. Okay. So we have our silos, and this is what's left of our soybeans, right?
So, okay, it's coming out of the cleaner.
Out of the cleaner, exactly.
Okay, got it. And you're going to reuse this?
Exactly. So it's here, it's already had some fungus and heating going on, and this is going to get all black. Maybe I'll use it next year, but this is what we had from this year, from our harvest.
And then what is it all the same?
Yeah, we have some wood chips there also from cleaning. We use wood chips to dry our grains here, no propane. And here we have the organic stuff, right, which is pretty much, this is organic, that's organic, but that's turf soil.
Okay.
And we here have some sugar cane, another organic component, right? And
you've already mixed this together?
Yeah, we mixed last year. So
okay.
This year we're buying rocks rich in phosphorus.
Yeah.
30%, 31%.
But
it's not available.
Is that what that is? The white? No?
No. I guess this is just
that's
like
a bird, isn't it?
Yeah, bird crap. And we're gonna mix this with this phosphorus rock, and then we're gonna put some bacteria that will feed on this organic matter.
Yeah, when you say bacteria, is this your biologicals?
It's a biological, yeah.
So you're going to spray that on?
We have a company that, it's a big tank. They come with a truck, 30,000 liters. They'll put the bacteria in.
Yeah.
And it's a specific bacteria that feeds on this organic matter and breaks down that rock.
Yeah.
So you go from 31%, you kind of make it 10% available.
Okay.
And then you put 1 ton of that thing out there, and that gives you about 100 points of phosphorus, which is 10% of 1,000, right?
This is going to have another
kgs.
Year, is it?
We're going to use this year.
Oh, this year. So you windrowed this, and I can see this goes like a mile down there, a long way.
Long way.
So what application will you spread this on per hectare?
We use a ton per hectare.
A ton per hectare.
10%, so 100 kgs of phosphorus.
Yeah.
And it goes along with this bacteria. So every phosphorus you have on your land that's fixed, that bacteria goes in there too.
Oh, and helps release.
It helps release what you already have in your soil.
Interesting.
What we are seeing that we cut 100% of our chemical fertilizer for phosphorus. We're still using potassium chloride,
Yeah.
and we're still using nitrates.
Yeah.
Right?
But the potassium chloride, to be clear, is just to go onto the rock to start
Exactly,
to break it down.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. But you effectively, I'm assuming that rock is a waste.
That rock is like, it's not very well used and it's
Yeah.
very cheap.
Yeah.
So you make you decrease your cost and you increase your biological life in your soil. So we're having really amazing results doing this. And you can see it's a big piece of land because we are doing about 7,000 to 8,000 tons. Exactly, 7,000 to 8,000 tons. A year.
Yeah, so that's the 8,000 hectares you're spreading on.
Exactly. We are using 5,000 hectares here
Yeah.
and another 3,000 hectares where we have our cattle farm.
Yeah, okay. And would you put cattle muck in as well?
Yes, if we do have cattle.
So anything you really have?
Chicken manure,
Yeah.
everything goes on.
Do you have to find an expert that tell you how to mix and blend it, you know, what the rates are?
So we have a partnership with this company that just does this.
Okay.
It's like I hired their know-how and
Yeah.
their machinery.
Yeah.
And what I just provide is all the...
Okay, you get the piles here and they do the rest.
And they do the rest.
Brilliant. So these are your lime spreaders. So these are working, just dropping it.
Just dropping it.
So it's not very wide.
It's at 12 meters. It opens it up 12
Oh,
meters.
it gets wider.
Yeah, you see this is just for
Oh, I
transportation.
see. These come round.
Come round and then you have 12 meters.
Okay.
Yeah,
oh, that's clever. So it's 12 meters and it's a direct feed. So you don't have any issues in the wind.
Exactly.
So you can run all the time.
Yes, we have the plates also,
Yeah.
the broadcaster,
Yeah.
and we have this. The only problem here is we need a very dry product for this machinery.
Get stuck.
Yeah,
It bridges.
Exactly. So
Because I'm assuming it's not belt feed because it's direct drop.
exactly.
Got it. So does it not have a form of vegetation to stop that?
No, it doesn't. It does have a belt. You can see it will roll. The belt will drop it here.
Okay.
Will come down this way. This will protect from the wind and just make it. So it's amazing how it looks. Like you can fly over with a drone or with a plane and you can see how it's very even.
Yeah.
But the thing is that most of our lime we buy it in the rainy season and it comes here humid.
Yeah.
So you have to buy a very selective product,
Yeah.
a very selective lime,
Yeah.
maybe industrialized lime where
Yeah.
they
Or you need to get it delivered when they dig
Exactly.
it in the dry and deliver it and spread it straight away.
But then sometimes you have a rock or a stone in there and then we'll just
Gets
get
jammed.
here and then you have a problem. So we
Okay.
really need to maybe go to some products. There are some companies here that have like a prime product.
Yeah.
And
A screened.
Yeah, it's not good on broadcasting, but with this it's amazing.
What about you screening your lime yourself when it turns up, running it for a screener?
Well, you imagine screening 10,000 tons of lime.
Yeah.
It's pretty much.
Well, you put somebody who's naughty on that job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to buy some machinery to do that too,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
So
this
the
is
hook lift bins, this is a big culture here, isn't it?
It is because your truck becomes very multifunction.
Yeah.
So this is for cattle. So
What you actually load cattle in this and then
yes,
pick them up.
Pick them up, yeah.
Oh, clever.
But maybe not that we'll pick them up. We'll just put on the truck and go get some cattle. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you'll just make the cattle all go to the back when you're picking
Oh, I
up.
see what you mean. Sorry, you
Yeah.
don't drop it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I understand.
But for grains, sometimes if we're short on trucks, we can drop one grain.
Oh, and just leave the bins.
Just leave the bins and then pick it up, and then the combines just drop it there.
Yeah.
It's
And
more work. We usually want to have the amount of trucks necessary to don't have to drop it, but that's like another multifunction. It's like you have a second option, a plan B. And what we do is also the truck we just finished harvesting soybeans. Now our trucks have an auger to feed fertilizer to the broadcaster. We're spraying nitrogen. And then after that, we'll get this and go to the cattle farm. and we also put some to work the road. So you do a lot of stuff with the same truck.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting.
And I saw the one with the auger on the back you were talking about, which fill the fert spreader. That's quite an interesting idea. So that the auger's laid across the top, swings round, and then the fert goes to it and it just fills it.
Yeah, it saves a lot of time because you have there the machine will get the phosphorus here, the nitrogen, will feed in that on that truck, and the machine itself doesn't have to come all the way this way. And we are in the rainy season. I cannot just go get the nitrogen and put out there.
Yeah.
If it rains on top, I'll lose the product. So I have a lot of efficiency, with it.
And is this you've got a Horsch sprayer I saw in the shed?
Yeah.
And this is a how many sprayers do you run?
We have 3 sprayers. 2 are Horsch, and this is Jacto.
And this is a Brazilian sprayer.
This is a Brazilian, very good sprayer. But why we kept it? Because we have the weeded. This is from, I think it's from Netherlands.
Yeah.
This very expensive. It reads the green.
Yeah.
So what we do is when we are drying it down before we start planting in September, October, we are saving 80% on chemicals.
Really?
Yeah. 80% on glyphosate.
Wow. Is this just on the 500 meter land that you can't use the GMO on, or is this on everything?
No, on everything. I just go out there and I just.
So you have literally cut your desiccant bill down dramatically.
Yeah, exactly, dramatically by using this. And now
that's almost paying for you to keep this sprayer just for that job.
Just for that job. It will work for that job, and what I'm working with it's for the biological I do at night. So for example, we have a lot of pests here, insecticides that the biological control is very efficient. Isaria, it's the name of the fungus. You have, many other fungus. We have the trichoderma, which is like also a fungus we are spraying at night with this equipment on those fields. Right there, about 3 days ago, we sprayed this trichoderma for fusarium. So we do it nighttime because you have about 10 hours of very no sunlight, and you maybe get a little rain, and you have all the, how you say, the water that you get from nighttime, the
dew.
The dew, yeah. So you get very efficient biological control. So it kept me just by, having this. I didn't want to install this on the Horsch because it has a very good balance on. And if you install, you lose your, how you say, you have a warranty on your machine. You have to change a lot of stuff on your equipment to have this.
This is giving you extra flexibility though, hasn't it?
Extra flexibility. Yeah. But, it works a month of the year, but it saves me money. So it makes good reason why to keep it. For lime, we have 4 equipments because lime is so important here.
Yeah.
If you go to that savanna, that park, and you get the soil sample, you have about 3.5 pH.
Wow.
So that's what I'm telling you. It's a very poor soil.
Yeah.
Very poor soil, like little phosphorus, little potassium. And then what I truly believe, is we go to this mine, not a mine, it's like a ore, right? Where you have phosphorus, where you have a lot of phosphorus, where you get about 10 hectares, and you industrialize that. From that 10 hectares, you can feed the whole Brazil area for, 5 years, 10 years. So you take it from a place where you have dense amount, which is not good, and you make Brazilian land, which is very poor, in the most profitable agriculture country in the world.
Yeah.
So isn't us worships of the land? Didn't God put us here to make this, help him make it? Because today, savanna, you can see how the trees are. If you put back savanna in this farm here, you'll have a rainforest. You'll have 20 times bigger trees.
Because the land is now healthy.
Because we made the soil healthy.
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about, environmental being there, I think we have to work the land.
Yeah.
If we have live soil, full of microorganisms and all bacteria and all organic matter, we're making the world better.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that's the beauty of farming
Yeah.
is getting, you know, Russia has huge amount of phosphorus, and then Canada has huge amount of potassium, which doesn't do anything, all accumulated there. But globalization helped us, you know, do this. So this country.
Well, for an ever increasing population.
Exactly, 3.5 pH, aluminum, very toxic in aluminum. You put soybeans there or whatever there, won't yield 0.5 tons.
Yeah.
Now you lime it, you bring phosphorus, you put potassium chloride, you're talking about 5-6 tons.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing, stood out here in these sort of flat fields, and you pan around and you can literally see thousands and thousands of acres of land out here, and then quite a lot of trees and things. It's really quite beautiful, actually, quite a nice temperature. Soil is lovely to look at, and, you know, just sort of moving it about and the workability of it. And then the drill here is slightly different setup. So you've got a, it's a 39 row one at 45 centimetres. So it's the same as the 36 at 50 we were looking at. But there's another drill which is on a John Deere articulated, which has just gone somewhere else. So this guy's finishing this field off. But the efficiency and the scale of this place, you know, with the roadways as well, and they've got a quarry which is showing me where they're digging out stone, and they're making their own roadways, so they make everything a bit more sort of weather resistant. And fascinating about this 20% that they have of land, which doesn't include the land which I would want to include, of course, that they can't farm. So real investment into the environment. And this 15% destruction that they get because of wildlife is that's a tough pill to swallow. An uncontrolled amount of wildlife. I mean, different people have different views on that, but it's interesting that the effectiveness of what the corn per hectare can achieve in feeding them to what the effectively the original habitat. But yeah, it's been a fantastic day so far. Really enjoyed it. So it's been a fantastic time with Thomas, and we've had a tour around the farm, and I'm sort of blown away actually by a number of facts that I never appreciated. But you know, he's got over 20% of his farm which is dedicated to the environment. We're stood here, look, we've got the marshlands and things there, and we've got the trees. And in my mind, perception-wise, it was all the land was cleared, it was all being farmed, etc. But the reality is, Thomas is actually a really keen environmentalist and is very keen on nature and actually putting something back for a legacy for his family going forward. But it's actually a bit of a passion of his, and he's part of wildlife, you know, a group that's actually focusing on the pigs. What do you call the pigs again?
Peccaries.
Peccaries. And he's got a number of 4,000 now, which are operating in one area of the farm, which is a staggering number, 4,000 just in the wildlife aspect.
Yeah, exactly.
So you've now managed to actually map and work out how many you've got. So really appreciate the time we've had here. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we're going to get Thomas to the UK, and we'll hopefully show him around, and we'll get an update from him how his project's going. Hope you enjoyed it. Please carry on subscribing and liking what we're doing. Any comments, just fire them in. And Thomas's channel, Tom will put a link on, so that which is going to launch today, of course, so you can then follow their journey in Brazil.